Yeah, my name is Ed Holm. I graduated in 1969, and I did a double major. I did biology and I did chemistry. So that's where I got my science start.
I'm Barbara Holm, but was Barbara Truitt when I attended PUC, and I was in PUC from 68 through 69 that first year.
And I'm Lynette Christensen Holm, and I attended PUC from 1966 to 1969. I graduated from the 2-year nursing program, and so I spent my last year at Glendale, at the Glendale campus.
My name is Ray Holm. I took business at PUC, where Dr. Boyd was my major professor, graduating in 1971.
Well, our parents, or my parents, and Barb's parents were both in the same medical school class, or when I say that, it's actually our dads that were in the same medical school class. But they ended up going to Bangkok, and we ended up going to Java in Indonesia. So we kind of had that interest, and her parents decided that they would go on a vacation trip to Bali. So when Barb was 8 and I was 11, we met for the first time.
Oh my goodness.
Which was not the primary reason we went to mission service, but it ended up being an interest when we got to the time we were getting married. We wanted to go, and I was on deferred appointment to go as a missionary. And we had to choose between Bangkok and Java as a place to go, and we decided, well, Mom sounds like a good place to start. And we ended up really enjoying it there and blossoming there and staying there for the 10 years of work at the Guam Adventist Clinic. I did internal medicine and pediatrics both for a couple years, and then I got some good friends that came out to help out. And toward the end, I was doing more internal medicine than I was peds, but I did both of those.
We have a son and daughter, and our son, our oldest, was 1 year old when we went there. And our daughter was born there on Guam. In fact, she's so identified with it that when we were moving to Singapore as another invitation to work there for 3 years, she was very upset because she said, I'm Guamanian, you know, and like she didn't want us to take her.
Well, I became interested in missions as a little girl. I was probably about 9 years old when our pastor, Herman T. Guy, went down to Lake Titicaca. And he must have been there for about 3 years and then came back. And I just remember him showing all the things that he had gotten from that country, and he had a table full of things to look at and all the stories. And I decided right then and there that I wanted to be a missionary when I grew up. And I was, you know, I was just a farm girl in Minnesota, and I can't believe it that I had so many opportunities in my life. And I've even visited 45 different countries. So I feel very fortunate because many of my classmates never made it outside of Freeborn County, where I was born.
We had two at Loma Linda before we went. My first job out at PUC was at Loma Linda University working in the student finance office. And then we got the call to go overseas. And as we traveled over to Ethiopia as our first mission call, we had 2 kids under 2 years of age, and so we got no seats for them on the airplanes. So we're traveling with these kids on our laps for
and no baggage allowance.
No baggage allowance. I don't know if you knew Dr. Boyd. He was chairman of the business department, and one of the classes he taught and I took was business law. This particular class happened at 7 a.m. and I was usually down playing basketball till 9:30 or so. And so anyway, I'm in class there, and I just could not stay awake. There's no way. So I'm dozing off, and and Dr. Boyd says, he sees that, and he says, okay, this next case is John Doe versus the state of Illinois. And he says, Mr. Holm, could you lead us through this course? And I'm sitting there.
With his hand on the desk.
Just zonked out, you know. And so I did not respond, and he moved on. Well, I can see he's busy. And
we decided to do one of those escapades, we called it. And this escapade was to try to ring the Irwin Hall bell on Saturday night. And we had a plan. We would send somebody up and tie a rope and throw the rope over to the other side. And the road behind Clark Hall was quite narrow on those days. So my friend Rick Thorpe was up on the bank with the rope. And then I had the job of, when the night watchman climbed up the ladder to get up on the roof, I was to knock the ladder out so that the night watchman would be stuck on the roof. So we had planned this for a while, and we'd all said that if we got caught, we'd just tell the truth, you know, we were just having a good time. So we got up there and rang the bell, and the night watchman wouldn't climb the ladder. So I didn't have much of a job. I went out the back other side of Irwin Hall, crawled under the tree that had the branches that went all the way down to the ground by the girls' dorm. And I just rested there and took my time, waited, and then I walked to the dorm just nonchalant. Went to bed. Well, my roommate had been chased by several people with flashlights up. And he was hot and sweaty, and he ended up crawling into bed, and I got in bed, and Dean Cole came along testing everybody's temperature, and I was not hot. So
Oh my goodness.
he went by me, and then he touched my roommate and said, "Got ya."
So they asked me to whip the cream, and I had 2-quart containers. I went over to the bakery where Ray was working, and they had a nice big KitchenAid over there with a bowl. And I said, "Can I put both of these in there?" And, well, of course, they both fit in there, so he said yes, and so I put both of them in. And then I turned on the mixer, and there was whipped cream everywhere.
She still thinks I did it on purpose. One day I was asked to make 40 almond torts. Okay, well, you know, we had the huge mixers and we had all the equipment in the huge oven there. And so, you know, I made these, and the next day I went into work, and the supervisor of the bakery came and says, "Come and look at this." And she took me over and she turned over one of those almond torts. It's completely green on the bottom. And so what happened? And we figured out that I had put in baking powder and soda instead of baking powder in the recipe. Well, I learned a valuable lesson. I ruined all those 40 almond torts. They all had to go.
Why is it important now? I see families having a hard time or not being willing to sacrifice to go to our own schools, which is kind of sad, because our choices in life are staying with Adventist Church all had a lot to do with connecting with good friends there and people that helped us when we were maybe not as strong. I was kind of a follower. You know, making good friends made the biggest difference for me. And those are the people I treasure still the most. And then, you know, we talked about meeting our spouses again, because I hadn't seen Barb from the time she was 8 until she was a freshman. That was the first time I'd seen her in all that time. And I think having a chance to marry somebody with, as we were talking about earlier, same values, same interests, is very important.
I just felt that it really was a very good experience for me, having been there at UC. The environment was lovely, places to walk and be. But the experiences were invaluable, and I just wanted to mention one instructor. I don't even know if I was in his Bible class.
Carl Kaufman.
Carl Kaufman. But one thing I do know for sure is I accepted the option of joining a class he was teaching, or to experience giving Bible studies. And I will never forget that. I don't remember all the content, but I do remember the fact that a faculty member was taking time specifically to spend time off. You know, it was just a volunteer thing. It wasn't, I don't think, even a class assignment. And whenever he was teaching any subject, he'd always draw a single line on a blank piece of paper and write a cross in the center of it. So anything we talked about was either leading to the cross or from the cross. And so now it has really framed my spiritual focus, just from that one experience. Has been it's really been a big deal.
Wow.
If I were to tell anybody what to do, you know, yeah, take your major course and all that, but take time to develop some of these other interests, because, you know, those are life skills that almost are more important. You can pick up more accounting stuff later.
I just wanted to say that we have met people all over the world that were classmates or have gone to PUC, and it has really been fun. And I love going to the PUC alumni weekends, which we can't do this year, because you get to see your classmates, and really it's a foretaste of heaven.
Yes,
And it's
I agree.
really something that I would have looked forward to this year.
Yes. Yes.
You know, one piece of advice I'd have for students going as a beginning student is to go with the idea of learning all you can, and not just with what you need to get by. Because it makes such a difference, makes life more interesting, it prepares you for a lot of experiences. And I've never felt that any experience is wasted, you know, whether it's a work experience or a class, they all feed into becoming who we are,
Yes.
you know, and making a difference. So I think that's really important. And for those who are coming in and thinking, oh, I finally have freedom and I can do everything I want, you probably could, but I think good choices are really important for us to realize that, you know, God, if God is a good friend already, then you can enrich it. And if He's not, then try Him again for the very first time.